Wall Street has put Tesla stock on sale a long time ago and is still keeping it firmly on sale. Here is why. We will take a look at this chart from Gary Black, who is one of the analysts for Tesla stock. On Wall Street, he's considered to be more aggressive on Tesla stock compared to the consensus, but he posted this chart, which if you like to pause the video, you can see exactly everything in the chart. The thing that we want to look at is right here and also here, and the most important part, really, we will get to it in just a few moments. So Gary is predicting only 10 million deliveries for Tesla by 2030, and we can see EV adoption that he's predicting right here. His reasoning why it's only 10 million and why the growth right here until 2026 is fairly fast, but when it slows down a lot from 26 to 2030 is because he believes, because of EV adoption, like if you go from 3% to 10%, that's a triple increase, and if you go from 10% to 30%, that's another triple, but when you go from 30% to 60%, that's only a double, and that's in 5 years. So that's why he's slowing down the deliveries, because Gary believes that Tesla will only continue its market share, but it will not grow, and he is basing everything on EV adoption market share. And he admitted that it could be quite a bit higher than 60%, but this is just the number that he picked for this specific case. I don't really have too many issues with Gary's predictions, although they are very conservative. The reason why Tesla stock is on sale is all here. Now ignore the adjusted EPS right here, because it's all, I think, is based on basically current Tesla price of 300. I looked at another chart of his. I didn't check this one, but that's what he had in the last one. I assume he just did everything based on that. So that's why PE multiples that you see here are extremely low, even though he said that by, I think, around 25 or 26, he still believes Tesla should have a 40 PE multiple. So when we look right here, this is Wall Street consensus. Now for 2022, 1.357 million deliveries. Okay, that's not too far off, but whatever. And when we look 2030, it's only 6.3 million vehicles. What world is this possible in? Is this, like, this is supposed to be consensus. This is supposed to be the base case, basically. This is not supposed to be the bear of the bear cases. This is supposed to be consensus. So when you think about this number, 6 million. Okay. Already Tesla this year basically has, if we round the numbers up, 1.5 million. Just to keep it super simple. So Tesla only needs to increase deliveries by 4 times, and we know there's an insane demand. Tesla could double production and would still be able to basically sell every single vehicle with just today's demand. Not the demand of 2030, when most of the market share is going to be electric, but today, then EV adoption rate right now is still quite low. If you look right here, estimated roughly 10%. And then later, if you go with these numbers, let's say 60%. Oh, come on. If you just do simple math right here, this doesn't seem to make much sense to me. I mean, I would think that 10 million is quite conservative, or 10 million deliveries per year in 2030. It's basically a little bit over 25% year-over-year growth, which for Tesla, I don't think it's that difficult to do really, because it's all production constrained, it's not demand constrained. And specifically for this point, what makes this even more ridiculous is they either assume that there's a demand issue, which if you look at EV adoption percentage, even at numbers that are widely believed to be true now, they are getting quite high already, which is good. So they can't believe anymore that EVs are not going to work, EVs are going to work. So they either believe that Tesla specifically, which is the #1 company by far with all the features and margins and pricing power and brand when it comes to EVs, either Tesla specifically only will not be able to have that much demand, or that Tesla will not be able to produce vehicles. Demand is clearly not an issue, because, and the simple way that you can explain that is Tesla's margins are much higher than anyone else's, and Tesla is already multiple years ahead of everyone else with even basic technology that goes into EVs. So Tesla can reduce pricing to increase demand. Tesla will make money even if others lose money if we match their pricing. So Tesla can put everyone else out of business just by underpricing everyone, and Tesla can still be profitable. So demand is not an issue. It's production that is really an issue. So by this, the conclusion is either Tesla will not be able to keep up with production, which I don't believe that's the case. I think 10 million, even with a lot of production issues, I think it's quite bearish to think it's going to be only 10 million deliveries, and 6 million. This is, are we gonna have like something of a magnitude that happened from 1914 to 1918? I mean, if you're thinking that, oh, sure, but this is supposed to be a base case, not a scary bear case. But I think Wall Street doesn't see that there is not going to be a demand issue. I think those numbers are so low because they think there's going to be a demand issue, and maybe I'll make another video about that to completely dismiss this myth completely forever, so it doesn't come up again, and I can just reference that video. But all of us Tesla stock investors, and this is why I'm all in Tesla stock in my stock portfolio, I only own Tesla stock in my stock portfolio. This is why I'm so bullish on it, because Wall Street doesn't see this. Wall Street thinks there's a demand issue, when really it's just what's the production constraint, which really comes down to raw materials for EVs specifically. And I think there's not that much of a production issue with Tesla specifically. It's going to be hard for others, but Tesla has already proven that they can do it. I mean, this is no longer 2017. Their Model 3 was uncertainty, and it was a little uncertain to many people that Tesla will actually still make it. Now that's no longer a question. So this just keeps blowing my mind, how Wall Street, having so many smart people, comes to such obviously wrong conclusions. And if I didn't know better, I would think they are not smart. They are smart. And the reason I know this, I went to a math camp, and that math camp is basically just solving difficult riddles. It's not about doing complex math in your head. I've seen the smartest people, like the smartest of the smartest of the smartest ones, make some absolutely silly assumptions or just make bad mistakes. And what's more interesting is they get influenced by the mainstream just as much as anyone else. So really, it's not about how smart you are, although it helps to be smart, but it's about how are you able to think independently and then not get really influenced by everyone else's and your emotions when it comes to making a decision, and your ability to reason from first principles, not just by analogy, even though reasoning from analogy is usually better, and by that I mean it saves time. But then it comes down to extremely important issues where you can spend a lot of time thinking about the issue and the problem. You don't want to reason from analogy, you want to reason from first based principles. And of course, Gary and I believe basically all of Wall Street do not include robo-taxis. And for me, when I calculate my Tesla stock price targets for myself, I make my investments based on my bear case. In the bear case, I don't include robo-taxis, but in my bull case and base case, I am including those. But I make all my decisions more on the bear case because I don't like losing money. I would rather have lower returns than lose money, even if that means I would make a little bit less money. But Tesla stock, I believe, is such a safe investment at the moment, in my deep belief, because no one is including robo-taxis basically, and in my mind, that is definitely going to happen. The timeline, that we can argue about until the sun comes up, which will take a while. To me, it appears that full self-driving is exponentially improving, not linearly improving, but even though if it was more linear, gradual improvement, I believe it will still happen by 2030. But with exponential improvement, that could happen a lot faster. But trying to predict an exact time frame down to a month or a year of when robotaxis are gonna come, I think that's as productive as trying to explain nuclear power to ants. Maybe I tried doing that, maybe I have not. We're not gonna go into details there, but just mark my words, it's not very productive. So until Wall Street updates their consensus to a reasonable at least 10 million yearly deliveries, Tesla stock is going to continue being on sale, just like I will continue buying Tesla stock. And if you're not sure about full self-driving, watch this video where Tesla repeats the impossible using full self-driving 10 times. Watch it right here, or watch this video if this one looks more interesting to you, and I will see you there. My name is Matt Posius. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click the like button. That's the best way to support the channel. Thank you very much.